Hi scientists! Today we're going to be talking about lesson 4 in our roller coasters unit. For this lesson, you're actually going to be building your own loop-de-loop out of household supplies. I have 2 example tracks that I've built here. This first one that's in white is actually made out of the printable roller coaster track. What I did was actually just cut out the different sheets. I had 2 straight tracks that I used, and I actually made one loop-de-loop and I attached them so that I had a straight track, a loop-de-loop, and then another piece of straight track, which you can see here for this roller coaster. This one I do recommend using a marble as your roller coaster cart for. Alternatively, you could build another roller coaster out of household supplies. This one that I've built here is actually just made out of some insulation for piping that I found in my basement. What's really nice about this stuff that I found, it's actually very flexible. If you have someone running to Home Depot for some reason at your house, you can get this for less than $1. It's really cheap and it's really easy to use. So whatever you decide to make your loop-de-loop out of for this activity, you're going to be investigating whether or not your coaster, which could be a marble, could be a Hot Wheels car, could really be anything that's able to roll or wheel down your track, what height the start of the hill needs to be compared to the top of the roller coaster's loop-de-loop. So we have 3 scenarios we're going to be investigating here. The first one is if the start of the track is lower than the top of the loop-de-loop. The second one is if they're equal, so the starting height is equal to the top of the loop-de-loop. And the last example you're going to try is if it's higher than, so the start of the hill is higher than the top of the loop-de-loop. A little hint from me to you, only one of these scenarios is going to work in the real world. The other 2 will not. So if you're finding that your coaster's not working in any of these scenarios, you might want to double check your track, making sure that you don't have a kink. An example of one, I actually have one on this track right here. You can see in this bottom corner, there's a little kink, which would actually make my cart fall out. That's something that can be adjusted by taping the loop so that it's a nice round loop-de-loop. You don't want a lopsided loop like I have here. So what you're going to be doing to test this, you're actually going to be changing the height of the start of the track. So for this roller coaster, I was able to secure the height just using a little piece of tape. This would be showing a hill that's higher than the start of the roller coaster loop-de-loop. This would be about equal, and somewhere around here would be lower than. So all I need to do is adjust this height for this particular part of the lesson. So I'm just going to show you an example here. I'm going to tape it back up so we can see. I will know that my coaster has successfully gone through the loop-de-loop if it's able to come around the other side without dropping out. And we can see my marble was successfully able to do that. An example of it not working so well on this track, we can see my marble does not make it the full way around the loop. It just kind of falls out or rolls back in place. It's not able to successfully make it the whole way around. So that's for this lesson. All you need to do is play around with the height of the start of your track for the loop-de-loop. Something that you're going to need to do later this week is actually measure the velocity, so how fast the marble is moving as it comes out of the last part of the track. That will be your maximum velocity. I want to remind you that velocity we're measuring in meters per second. Again, meters per second. So you might want to think about whether you have a measuring tape. Here's an example of one that I have at my house here. Maybe someone in your house has a measuring tape you can borrow, or even just a ruler that has centimeters. Or if you have a meter stick at home, I know I don't have one at home, but something you could possibly have in your house. You can actually figure out or think about how you could figure out how fast the marble is moving in meters per second if you use the timer on your iPad or phone and are able to measure the distance that it's rolling. You might want to think about what distance you might want to time it over to find that maximum velocity. Just a little hint for later this week. Just as always, guys, I'm available via email if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Again, these are just 2 examples of things you can make your roller coasters out of. There are many other items you could use at home. Get creative, and if you need any help, reach out to me via email or always drop in for office hours. Check out announcements on Canvas to see what time office hours are being hosted this week. Otherwise, have a really fun time with this experiment, and I do recommend taping your loop-de-loop in place because you are going to be needing to make measurements for it on day 4 this week. So make sure that it's secured somewhere where no one's going to bump into it. Nobody's going to mess it up until you're able to make those measurements later. If you make a really nice loop-de-loop, maybe it's something you can actually attach to your final project for your roller coaster. So I do recommend spending some time making your loop-de-loop real nice. Have some fun, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.